Moving on. Rebel Moon is the new movie from Zack Snyder. You may have seen the trailer online, which I've got to admit actually looks pretty good. Zack Snyder, I find it's a bit hit and miss. The problem with Zack Snyder is, I think visually he is very good, unless he's left to his own devices, like in what was the Vegas one called? Army of the Dead, was it? Yeah, that's what it was called. Well, I have seen it, and I couldn't think about it now. But if somebody told me there, Rebel Moon looks sick. When you say sick, do you mean good? As you know, yeah. Like I say, I thought it looked quite decent. However, it got to the point where it said written by Zack Snyder, and it's immediately, right, because his writing is not that good. For an example, see Sucker Punch. You know, he kind of made his mark with 300 and Watchmen, but both 300 and Watchmen were written by two of the greatest authors ever, Alan North and what's the other guy called? Frank something or other. I forget his name now. But 300 and Watchmen are two incredibly fantastic stories. Him writing his own stuff, like for example Sucker Punch, although apparently there is a director's cut of Sucker Punch that he wants to re-edit. Apparently it was cut quite a lot by the producers. Who would have thought that in Hollywood? Suits and executives interfering with things and trying to make them better. So I don't know. I'm quite looking forward to Rebel Moon. The only thing is, I am just going to look up the facts and so forth. But with this Rebel Moon, it is going to be a director's cut. The only problem with that is, we know what Schneider's like. With his use of slow motion, the film is obviously going to be 17 hours long and mostly in slow motion. And people stood heroically and just sort of, as it does it all in slow-mo. I'm just trying to find the article now. Apologies. I did mean to catch up with it today, but I've been working today, and so that's why I'm behind with everything. I can't bloody find it now. Let's use the search function. If you go to the lastmovieoutpost.com, we have a search function. That's what it's there for. Director's cut. There we go. So, director's close is very close to an hour of extra content, is what he's saying. So, I mean, it's probably already going to be, 2.5, 3 hours, because that seems to be the standard for movies these days. Far too long. So, yeah, he's probably talking about a director's cut, which is going to be, 4 hours long? I don't want to say that I've got like a short attention span. I haven't got ADHD, I think. But I did sit down the other day and watch for the first time Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is the second one. It's 2.5 hours. And I had to sit through it in 3 or 4 sections. It's just too long. Back in the day, you could tell a 90-minute story to perfection. And it was great. And I'm not saying that obviously, there are obviously films longer than 90 minutes, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff, that are longer than 90 minutes. But you can tell a decent story in 90 minutes if you know what you're doing. And some of these films just tend to drag these things out far too long. Far too long. Sorry, Rena. Right, so I'm going to go to the comments a minute because I just lost my train of thought, but we're going to go to the comments there. I'm only slightly regretting cancelling my Netflix subscription. I might have to invite myself to my sister's house to watch Rebel Moon. I think it's going to be a film worth watching. Like I say, the trailer made it look pretty good. So, Mannix and Seth will probably watch it. Malik has also said, Watchmen and Schneider cut of Justice League are the only movies 4 hours I can watch. Yeah, see, Watchmen, again, that had an extended cut, didn't it? Which was, again, very, very good. The Justice League, I have watched the 4-hour version. It's not the kind of movie I'd go back to because it's just too long. It's just far too long. Yeah, I don't have the time or patience to watch movies every 2 hours. I'm the same. I'm really getting the same. And I kind of hate myself for it. But at the same time, it's like, there's a TV series over here I'm just going to big up called Inside Number 9. Written by two guys called Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton. You may know them as the League of Gentlemen, which is a British TV show, kind of like a comedy horror. In these they've done, I think, 8 series of Inside Number 9, but each of them, it's an anthology, and it's just basically always set somewhere inside Number 9. They are half-hour stories, but they are fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. There are stories that they have written which have sat with me far longer than some movies I've seen. Sometimes I go through kind of my list of movies that I've watched and sit there and go, did I watch that? What happened? No, can't remember. Whereas you can tell a decent story in a short amount of time. I don't know why they seem to make films longer. And also, if movies are shorter, surely that's better for the cinemas because they can get more showings in. If a movie is 3 hours long, say Oppenheimer, you can maybe only get 1 or 2 showings in a day. Whereas if a movie is only 90 minutes, you could get 5 or 6 of those in a day. But what do I know? I'm only a sensible human being. Ish. But yes, Rebel Moon is out. It's towards the end of the year. I want to say December. Let me just double check because it's going to stay here. December the 22nd. So yes, and Rebel Moon will be out over Christmas. I am looking forward to seeing it. A director's cut. And it's also 2 parts I've just seen here as well. Rebel Moon Part 1, The Child of Fire, will have a limited theatrical run ahead of its arrival on Netflix on December the 22nd. The Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, will be released on the streaming platform on April 19th next year. It's something to look forward to. And in this day and age, that's saying something. By the way, being on your own, you seem to have much more intelligence about the comments in the chat than before. Yeah, it's because I'm relying on you guys to help me get through this. If I was just talking by myself, this would be bad. So thank you very much. And yes, I'm interacting with the chat because you're all lovely people. And I really appreciate you all being here. That was an excerpt from the Outpost Frequencies brought to you by thelastmovieoutpost.com. We hold a live stream every Sunday at 12 p.m. on Central Time and 6 p.m. UK time. You're welcome to join us. In the meantime, make sure you visit thelastmovieoutpost.com for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about film. So cheesy.